And for this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 more movies that look great on 4K. So let's jump right into it.
So who's washing your Jeep this weekend, Mr. Lombardo?
Washing that old Jeep of mine's sort of a waste of time, don't you think?
Not at all. How about if Nicole and I do it? We're working as a team.
So this is another title neglected by Sony. It didn't even get a 25th anniversary edition. They restored this back in 2022, but then they handed it off to Arrow Video for the 4K Blu-ray, who then proceeded to make a bunch of steelbooks that nobody bought. I mean, they couldn't give them away. But they've got a more affordable standard edition now, and Sony did upgrade the theatrical version to 4K on digital. And it's so much better than the old Blu-ray, which isn't surprising with Sony. As good as they are with some of these 4K remasters, arguably one of the best, they really put out some crappy Blu-rays early on.
It's a stink pot, Jimmy.
And in this case, the biggest offense was the dull-looking transfer that was probably the same one they used for the DVD release. And this was made in Florida, so it's another one of those movies with a distinct natural look, and it's hard to fake those exterior shots. And it's really a night and day difference. I mean, some of these external shots on the Blu-ray don't even look like they're outside. And the 4K actually looks like daylight. You know, the colors are brighter and more saturated, and the whole movie just looks more vivid. And there's a big step up in detail when moving over to the 4K. You can see in these wide shots that the detail just wasn't there on the old Blu-ray. And as always with Sony 4Ks, this looks spotless, with no specks or dirt to be found anywhere. And Arrow put this onto a BD100 with a super high bitrate, so you're getting every ounce of detail. And there's definitely a premium feel when you're watching the 4K Blu-ray.
I could definitely party on one of those.
And you'll definitely lose some of that when you try to stream it. But even then, it's still way better than the old Blu-ray. And if that's the way you like to watch movies, go for it.
I eat breakfast 300 yards from 4,000 Cubans who are trained to kill me, so don't think for 1 second that you can come down here, flash a badge, and make me nervous.
And I'm thinking about some of the comments from the last video about the movies I picked not being very good. So what's the excuse with this one though? I mean, nobody thinks this is a bad movie, right? But I still don't see a lot of people talking about this as one of the best looking movies on 4K, which it is. I mean, it looks amazing in 4K. It's got excellent contrast and that extra crispy detail, and it was an easy upgrade over the old Blu-ray that had a lot of problems because it was an old transfer by Sony. I mean, just look at the difference. The detail on some of the close-ups on Blu-ray is okay, but the texture on the clothing and the faces, which you're going to see a lot in this movie, just looks soft, like it was lost in the encoding. And the 4K brings back all that missing detail and clarity. And the Blu-ray also had that weird, like hazy look where exterior scenes were too dark. And the 4K now has that nice punchy, crispy look to it. If you like streaming, it does have Dolby Vision on some providers, but it does tone the brightness down quite a bit, so be aware of that. I think both pictures pop, so you can't really go wrong either way. But it does look like the Dolby Atmos soundtrack is only available on the 4K Blu-ray and the Fandango stream.
Shit, Nick, you scared me.
And this one just amazes me because the movie made a ton of money at the box office. I mean, it made like $125 million on a $5 million budget. I mean, that's crazy. So logically, you think Universal would try to cash in, and they released a lot of 4K Blu-rays in 2018, but this was nowhere to be found. And they just dumped this one onto regular old Blu-ray and kept the 4K as a digital exclusive. And nobody cared about this even on Blu-ray, let alone when the 4K finally came out from Shout Factory. And it's a shame that this movie doesn't have that much interest on home video, at least on physical media, because it really looks great on 4K. This is another one that proves my point that contrast is king. You know, you can do all the 4K scans you want, you can shoot digitally in 4K, 6K, 8K, but the perception of detail is really in the contrast. This was shot digitally at 2K and it looks as good as any movie on 4K. And the HDR is really hot on this, it's easily some of the brightest you'll see. And I don't mean just super bright highlights, but the average picture level. If you know somebody that thinks HDR is too dark, hand them a copy of this with a pair of sunglasses. Like I said before, this had a $5 million budget, but the HDR makes it look better than most blockbuster movies recently. Compared to the Blu-ray, it's like flipping a switch. And not just because of the big boost in brightness, but also with the great color saturation and the better black levels. And the Blu-ray wasn't even that bad, it's pretty good actually. But once you see this in 4K, you know what you've been missing. It just looks really dim by comparison. And if you haven't seen this recently or at all, the 5.1 soundtrack is pretty damn good for a movie with this budget, and it's a lot of fun to listen to. One thing to watch out for if you like streaming, the digital 4K on this seems to be pushing red a lot more than the 4K Blu-ray from Shout, so I'm not sure if they did some more remastering on the 4K before sending it out to Shout or what's going on there, but either way, consider checking this one out if you haven't already because it looks great.
Notice anything unusual about Santa Carla yet?
No, it's a pretty cool place. If you're a Martian.
Or a vampire.
And how lucky are we to have this one on 4K? It's an absolute classic and the best vampire movie ever made. And it's definitely one of the best looking movies on 4K, but I rarely see it mentioned as a must-have. It was an easy upgrade for me over the old Blu-ray, which still offered years of good service, but it was time to let it go because they did an amazing job with this 4K. And you can tell they took their time to do a proper restoration of this. I mean, it's flawless. You're not going to find dirt or specks anywhere on this. And I love the texture on this, and the film grain is not too distracting. Details are razor sharp, and it's got that nice extra crispy look to it. And the picture pops because the black levels stay dark and the highlights stay bright, and that's great contrast. We didn't get an Atmos upgrade, but the existing soundtrack is kind of iconic, so I can't fault Warner Brothers too much. And I'm going to give this one a sticker because you can usually find the 4K Blu-ray at a really good price during most of the big sales. So if you're looking for a movie on 4K with excellent picture quality and you don't want to spend a lot of money, definitely grab a copy of this one.
Think of it more as a survival manual. There's our number on the back. And pray that you never need to call us.
And what an amazing 4K upgrade this was. And if you do have the capability, I would grab the copy with Dolby Vision. It's not make it or break it, but the extra depth you get really looks great with this particular movie. You know, there's a lot of bright exteriors mixed with darker interiors, so it really helps to tone down some of that extreme brightness, and your eyes don't have to adjust as much when you go from dark to light. Also, some displays might not be bright enough to display the highlights properly, so they might clip them. If you do have a TV that can only do HDR10, check out some of the Panasonic Blu-ray players with the HDR optimizer because they do a good job of correcting some of that highlight clipping. But don't worry, either version that you get still looks way better than the old Blu-ray.
Zorro, you look better than ever.
And I know it's getting repetitive, but these Sony 4Ks are just so much better than their old Blu-rays. And in this case, the Blu-ray has decent detail in some of the close-ups, but it's got that weird haze over it just like some other Sony Blu-rays mentioned on this list. And some of these outdoor scenes are almost unwatchable on the Blu-ray. I mean, look at the amazing difference in contrast with the 4K. Definitely night and day. And the overall clarity and detail is up there with the best of them. Like I said, what an amazing 4K upgrade this was. And this also has one of the more active Dolby Atmos soundtracks. A lot of stuff going on overhead and in the surround back channels, deep bass, so this is definitely a premium 4K with top tier picture and sound, and everybody should check this one out.
I'll see you tonight.
Alright, that's it for this round. Let me know what you think in the comments.